Yeah, asked me about smoothing and mean smoothing or median smoothing. Um, Not only just manually, but how to set that up on your calculator. Now, I started this at the start of the year and went through this, so it's a bit of a refresher for probably some of you if you didn't save the document that we made at the start of the year. So I'm just going to increase the view of the screen so you can just see it a little bit better. There we go. So we're just in menu. So what I want to do is I want to go to add list and spreadsheet. So here's my spreadsheet, and let's say I've started this up and I've got X here and of course Y here. Now of course in the question in the further exam you'll have one variable and another variable. So you make sure that you've basically called them whatever the variables are notified in the question. So it might be, boots and clothes or whatever it might be. But you use relevant variables so you can remember that that's what you've called them. And of course, if I've got data here, now if I'm smoothing it, of course, X means that, and this is mainly used in time series. So we usually have, pretty much 1 to 12 because a lot of the time it's, months that they're talking about and sometimes it's years. Depends on sort of the question. So you got to remember that. Now, if I've already rigged up, let's say I've rigged this up already and I've saved it as a document in my CAS, then, it's probably a good idea just to, make sure that you sort of change this to months so you know what it started out to be. So if you need to change it, you can change it and it won't make much difference. But you just got to realize that that's what you've got, and then you might have your data in here. And of course, your data could be, you know, um, whatever values it might be. So it might be temperature values, or it might be sales of certain thing, or could be, ice cream sales or whatever it might be, during the year. And then, of course, if it's ice cream sales, it's probably going up, as we get hotter. And you've got to realize what you're talking about, what variables you're talking about as well. So, that way you can make observations or um, make relevant um, conclusions from what you've got. So if I want smoothing, let's say I want, um, maybe I want mean smoothing, okay, and maybe I want for mean smoothing. Now, usually I put it into there like that, okay. So because if I put the for before the mean, sometimes CAS has a bit of a problem with that. Now, if I'm going to do smoothing, and let's say it's for mean smoothing, then I'm going to have like at these four values, and realistically I should know that it's going to be in between these values, okay, as my midpoint. So if I do that, what I might want to do is I might want to make it in here. So as soon as I press equals, it will give me a formula bar, okay. So what I want to do is I want to add all these together. I want to do that one plus the next one plus the next one plus the next one plus the next one. So sometimes you can just quickly write it in here. And if you rig this up really quickly, in other words, already in your CAS, you can see that it works out the average. Now, because that's the average at this point here, at basically in between 2 and 3, okay, then I can do the next one. Now, if I just click on here and drag down, it automatically makes and keeps going, right, all the way down. Now, of course, I'm going to stop before I get, and it doesn't really matter if, even if I go past, right, if I go past, you can see that it stops or stops giving me values, and I'll just scroll down quickly. So you can see it stops as soon as it comes to this one, right, where the last piece of data is used. Okay, so that's my last mean. Now if you notice your CAS giving you fractions like this, alright, then you need to change your settings. So you just go into document settings, and sometimes it's easier to make. So you notice it's in auto. So what you want to do is you want to make it into approximate. Make sure you make it default, and there you go. Now you've got the average in decimal values. Okay, so that's like the mean for smoothing now. Right, sometimes, of course, it will go further. It will want to the average of these means, so you might need to average them out. So that means you add these two and divide it by 2, you add the next 2 and divide it by 2, add the next 2 and divide by 2, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, now median's a little bit different. Okay, so the median's a little bit different, especially in, and let's say we do a median of 3, okay, especially in your CAS, because there is a command called median. But what happens is it looks at these 3 values, and if I hit enter, it gives me 35. But if I do the next 3, right, it gives me 45. So you can see that it's starting to work. 45 again, 34, and you keep going and going and going. Now again, if you just click and drag that down, alright, you get to a point where it starts giving you blanks again, because of course it runs out of values. Alright, so you got to be careful though. So you can see here, these last two have given you values, but there's no value in here and in here. Alright, so you just, when you do this, just make sure you don't go that far down. Okay, delete that one. So you can see here, there's nothing here, there's nothing here, and then you've got all your medians. Alright, and a lot of the time that's easiest. If you've rigged up your CAS automatically to do this, then it's really easy, and you plot things. You can even go into your next page and go control page, and you can see here it's got all the means, and it says mean 4, so you can already see. And if we said X here, and this is my means, there we go, there's my means. Ooh, it looks pretty funky, doesn't it? And of course that's because I haven't really smoothed it, right? And I've just made the values up myself, right? So I hope this helps a bit about how you can set your calculator up with mean 4, median 3, median 5, mean 5, mean 3, and of course, you know, depending on the number of data you have, will depend on what sort of question, if it's a mean 3 or a mean 4 or a median 3 or a median, you know, depending on how many numbers you have will depend on what they ask you as well. Alright, so I hope this helps. Good luck.